My name's Karen Inslee. I live in Sunnyside. I have one question, but I have comments to support my single question. And it's regarding the removal of question time. So you all hear me, okay? In last week's clipper, the CEO commented that the amount of inquiries has increased and that staff are struggling to keep up with the information requests being called into the office. How many of those inquiries are actually the same question being asked? No, I'm not expecting a statistical report from you, but suppose you get 50 inquiries and they are all asking the same question. Is it not more efficient to keep question time so that you have one person asking the question and then the other 50 can listen into the audio playback on the website, assuming that there's no segments of the recording where the microphone actually gets accidentally turned off? If question time is eliminated, many will and already do perceive this as the council avoiding accountability, maybe withholding information, or that council is unwilling to engage with their community. This undermines trust and actually makes it harder for us to support you as council with initiatives going forward. Removing question time also gives the impression that you do not have the answers to those questions, but you've been in your role for 2 years now, and although I tell my husband differently, none of us know everything. But if after 2 years of being in a job, you don't have the confidence or knowledge to answer on the spot questions, then maybe whatever profession you're in, it's time to consider changing your jobs. It was mentioned that question time should be removed because it's the same people asking the same questions. My thoughts on this. I understand that hearing the same questions repeatedly can feel frustrating for you as council. However, this repetition highlights that the community still sees that there are unresolved issues. Instead of viewing this as a problem, can it not be seen as an opportunity to identify why these concerns persist and we keep asking the same questions and work towards providing answers and solutions instead of removing the opportunity for us to seek answers? This should not be seen as an inconvenience, but rather as a signal that the community needs more clarity, more action, communication with maybe updates and timeframes. With regard to the same person asking the same questions, again, my primary and major concern on this are, since our mayor took office, I think everybody in this room and many online have witnessed many outbursts from Mr. Therrien. Professionally, I teach in the corporate field addressing behaviours, civility and being respectful as it relates to our personal and professional relationships and how it affects our mental health. Our mayor's verbal outbursts and body language, and this is what I study and present professionally on, has been both disrespectful and perceived by many as abusive. At one meeting, our mayor told one resident to sit his ass down.
You know, this venue is sufficient for 99% of our council meetings. I don't know why you're shaking your heads, because 99% of our meetings, this venue is sufficient.
We're talking. Why don't you sit down?
So council,
You sit down. We are trying. Our CEO is trying to explain here.
I don't even know what you're doing.
Sit your ass down. You need to sit down. Look who's talking. No, I won't retract.
I'm asking a point of order. Those words, those vicious words to the public. Those are the same people that pay your wage, that elected you, that may not elect you next time, and have a voice to say.
No. Okay.
Raising his voice at multiple others, dismissing and refusing to acknowledge some, calling the police and even shouting, raising his voice multiple times. Being subjected to this type of behaviour can...
Is there a question here?
Yes, there is.
Henson?
I'm giving you support on. I know that you were going to interrupt me. I have 5 minutes and I've got a question, and I did explain at the beginning that I needed to give you the supporting information behind my question. So if you would like, please let me finish, and I'm allowed to. Being subjected to any disrespectful behaviour can come across very intimidating and very threatening to some. And I can understand completely how the less confident person would not want to publicly address their concerns, hence the same people coming forward. Because professionally, I can appreciate even how the most confident of speaker could be thrown off by such behaviours. So it's understandable why those who are not confident public speakers and feel intimidated or threatened by outbursts would probably prefer for someone more confident than themselves to ask the questions, and which is why the same people are continually standing up and speaking at meetings. Having previously served as a school board trustee, we were not there to make friends, but we were there to get a job done. And although we don't have to be friends, we do have to be friendly. I admit that we had heated discussions and disagreements at the school board table, but regardless of this, at no point, regardless of what personal, professional thoughts or opinions I have about anybody I served with, at no point ever did I witness our board chair or senior administrators shout, raise their voice, tell a parent or spectator at the meeting to sit their ass down, or be rude to somebody who came to one of our meetings. Again, I repeat myself, I am not asking for us to be friends, but I'm asking for us to be friendly. Last week in the Clipper, some concerned and passionate individuals and groups were being referred to as a mob. This is not being friendly. So to sum up my conversation, I attended a meeting here earlier in the year. I can't recall the topic. I believe it was related to some infrastructure, maybe development proposal. But during the presentation, the speaker said that the bylaw and the project recommendations must serve the best interests of the municipality stakeholders. As I listened to him, I got my phone out and I looked up who qualifies as a municipality stakeholder. It included businesses, organisations, but us as residents are stakeholders of municipal stakeholders. I stood up and spoke that night and said that the proposals being recommended by this particular person, and I apologise for not being able to remember what it was about. I said that the proposals being recommended did not serve the best interests of the stakeholders. All bylaws should serve the best interests of us, the stakeholders, and removing question time does not serve the best interests of your municipal stakeholders. So my question that I'm getting to now is, how does it serve the best interests of your stakeholders, aka me and everybody else in this room, by removing question time?
That's what we're going to be discussing here, so that's...
Yeah, I'm asking a question, so I'm asking you to answer my question. How does it serve the best interests of me as a stakeholder and everybody else by removing question time?
I'm going to address that when we do our bylaw there after question period.
I'm asking you a question, like that's what question time is. I'm asking a question and you're not answering it.
It's not, we got people that shout out over other people here. It's disorderly. It's dysfunctional. It hasn't worked in 2 years. We've tried to mitigate question period several times. We were prepared to close it down last November, in my opinion there, but council came up with a trying to mitigate the issue there, and it stayed the same, and it hasn't gotten any better. Our time can be better utilized using that time with our agendas. Delegations are still present. We have cell phones, we got emails, and I get hundreds and hundreds of emails over a year's period there. I answer every one of them. We get phone calls.
No, you don't.
Actually, I can disagree with that.
So I answer every email and every question there. So
No, you don't.
I've
talking further about that.
I've never been disrespectful or shouted at anybody in a meeting. I did talk extra loud tonight because I wanted everybody to hear, and obviously I do present professionally, but like I say, my question is, how does it serve the best interests?
I answered your question, ma'am.
You didn't.
Anybody else want to answer?
Can somebody tell me what the answer is? Oh, okay, Mark, sorry, you've got a question for me.
No, I don't have a question,
okay.
but I just was thrown off a bit. The mayor said we tried to close down question period last year. I was definitely not part of that, we again. But, and I don't think Councillor Kaczynski, he would never, ever want to limit people's questions. So it's very evident there's an agenda. That's to eliminate the public accountability, the ability for you to question the mayor and our council. And I think that's absolutely wrong. So he can't come up with one reason other than it's dysfunctional and he doesn't like it. He doesn't like the questions. He doesn't want to be accountable. He doesn't want to be transparent. He'll be accessible by the cell phone. But Dr. Page and others have told me that when they phone the mayor, they don't get a response. So sure, he responds to hey, Dr. Page just alluded to that and others have said the same thing. So sure, you do respond to, I'm sure, most of them. I'm not going to say you don't. But why would we take away this public forum for the public? The mayor just indicated to you, let him speak. But what I wrote down is we can use our time better. When you're an elected official, your time is best used when you're engaging with the public. Every parliamentarian would know that. They hate being on Parliament Hill. They love being in their riding to engage with the public, with all of their stakeholders, for and against, all the time throughout their tenure. Why aren't we doing that? Why are we even entertaining this resolution to stop the public to engage with us? Oh, phone them, yeah, text them and all the rest. That's a bunch of hooey. That's a cover up. That's an opportunity to shrug it off. As I say, not only to limit, but to eliminate the public. So I think you're absolutely right. You can't come up with one real good reason why the public should be eliminated.
And I want you to reiterate that, like, no, I can't remember which meeting I attended, but whoever was presenting at the time, they said all bylaws should serve the best interests of the stakeholders. And all of you were there listening to this presenter, and I will have to go back and find it. I don't know when it was, but you all agreed with this presenter saying that all bylaws should serve the best interests of the stakeholders. So I'm still waiting for my answer, but I don't want to take up any more time and take away from anybody else that wants to actually speak. So
Thank you.